Chicago Cubs News Today.
Cubs fans, pay attention to this. The reinforcement we've been waiting for just took a huge step toward returning. Our right fielder, the guy who hit 32 home runs and drove in 103 RBIs last year, has officially started his rehab. And that means one thing: he's coming back. And the sooner he returns, the more this season changes. Stay with me until the end, because there's a detail in this update you need to know. Seiya Suzuki is back on the field. Not at Wrigley yet, but the process has truly begun. The Cubs outfielder will start a rehab assignment in the minor leagues later this week while the team is on the road. And look, this is a big deal. After everything that's happened since March, seeing his name on a rehab assignment is the kind of news that makes Cubs fans breathe differently. The injury was to the posterior cruciate ligament in his right knee. It happened during the World Baseball Classic in mid-March, right when the season was starting to heat up. He went straight to the injured list before even taking an official at-bat in 2026. For a guy who hit 32 home runs and drove in 103 RBIs in 2025, his absence is felt. Now, here's a detail a lot of people might be overlooking. The team still hasn't decided whether he'll start in AA or AAA, and that matters more than it seems. Patrick Mooney from The Athletic confirmed the update on X, and he's not the type of reporter who throws information out there without substance. When Mooney speaks, there's weight behind it. And what he confirmed is that the timeline will depend on how Suzuki responds physically in his first games. This isn't a fixed return date. It's a performance-based return, and that's a smart approach by the organization. The Cubs are at home right now, hosting the Los Angeles Angels at Wrigley Field. They opened the series on Monday with a 7-2 win. Sure, it's the Angels, but a win is a win, and momentum matters. The team sits at 2 wins and 2 losses to start the season. Nothing special, nothing alarming. But you know how early season baseball works. Every series sets a tone, and playing at the friendly confines always helps. The crowd pushes, the field feels alive, and the players feed off that energy. The problem is, without Suzuki in the lineup, the Cubs' offense still feels incomplete. You can see it in the numbers. You can feel it in the intensity. Behind the scenes, there's talk that the organization has been positively surprised by how fast Seiya is recovering. He's gone through base-running drills and defensive work faster than expected. That doesn't show up in official reports, but those who follow closely know that when a player goes straight to rehab without another round of internal evaluation, it means the staff is confident. And there's another factor. The Cubs are watching the calendar. If Seiya performs well in the minors for about a week, 10 days at most, his return could come sooner than most people expect. The ideal window would be sometime in April, while the season is still young and there's time to build rhythm. Cubs fans, hear me out. You don't need to panic about this start. 2-2 isn't what we wanted, but it's not the end of the world either. What matters is what's ahead. Imagine Seiya coming back in form in 2 to 3 weeks, with rhythm, with confidence. With that swing we all know he has, the Cubs lineup changes completely. And we're not talking about just any player. We're talking about the guy who was the offensive heart of the team in 2025. You remember what he did? 32 home runs, 103 RBIs. That's a difference maker. So don't jump ship now. The season has just begun. From a technical standpoint, the PCL, posterior cruciate ligament, is an injury that requires patience. Unlike the ACL, PCL recovery can be faster depending on the severity. And based on what's been reported, Seiya is already in an advanced stage, doing real on-field work. That means the ligament has responded well to treatment. Now the risk is different. It's the risk of coming back too early and suffering a setback. That's why the minor league rehab assignment makes perfect sense. It's not about proving anything. It's about testing the knee in real game situations with controlled intensity. If he handles the first games without inflammation or pain, the return is basically set. I've seen a lot with this team. Injuries that ruin seasons, comebacks that save them, and players who were never the same after a bad return. So when I say I'm optimistic about Seiya, I'm not being naive. I'm basing it on what I'm seeing. He's not a complainer. He's not someone who rushes things. When the organization says he's ready for rehab, I believe it. And more than that, I think he's coming back hungry. Missing the start of the season after a year like 2025, that stings for a competitor. He's going to want to make up for it. There are two possible paths from here. In the first, Seiya performs well in the minors, the knee responds, and he returns to the main roster still in April. In that case, the Cubs get a full lineup early enough to build momentum heading into May. That's the scenario fans want. In the second scenario, something doesn't go right. Pain, swelling, any kind of reaction, and the return gets pushed to May or beyond. Then the team has to hold things together longer without him, and the pressure on the rest of the roster increases. Not impossible, but frustrating after all the progress he's already made. The difference between these two scenarios: patience from the organization, the coaching staff, and Seiya himself. At the end of the day, this news represents exactly what the Cubs needed right now. A light at the end of the tunnel. The team is building rhythm, Wrigley Field feels alive, and the most important player in the lineup is on his way back. This isn't the time for hype. It's time to watch closely, trust the process, and believe that when Seiya steps back onto that field, he'll be ready to make an impact. Fly the W. So, do you think he comes back in April, or will the organization play it safe and wait until May? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear what Cubs fans think. And if you want to help the channel grow, the link is in the description.